What's up, everyone? I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. Wow, there's a lot of people watching right now. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all. My name is Randi, aka Miss Teen Crypto. It's very nice to see you all. Welcome to the Miss Teen Crypto Show. If you guys are new or you're just a regular, make sure to like, subscribe, share the stream out with friends so everyone can jump in on the good vibes. Today we have an amazing guest. I want to waste no time. I just want to talk to her already. Mona, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Dude, twice in a week? What did we do? People can't handle this.
I know. Guys, if you haven't seen, let me actually drop that link right now. Mona and I actually collabed on her channel. This was posted this morning. So the link right there is in the live chat. Make sure you save that link for later. Watch it, smash the like button, and then come back here. So guys, Mona is amazing.
Thank you.
I think she's awesome. I've been following you since you came in the space. We've met a few times in person, which is awesome. I really feel like in person you solidify a relationship and you just grind relentlessly. I respect you so much. So thank you for taking the time out and hanging out with me. How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, thanks for having me. I spent my Thanksgiving talking to you. No, it was good. You know, single people don't really do Thanksgiving. We just, I worked. I made some chicken. Does that count as turkey?
I like chicken.
I did a little chicken and Star Wars, and then I worked. I mean, I did some Black Friday shopping, but I was looking for cheap overlays. I mean, I don't know if that's really nerdy of me, but that's how I spend my Thanksgiving.
Like stream overlays?
Yes. Like
oh my gosh,
overlays.
I was doing the same thing the past few days. I've been looking. We're going to talk about where to go get overlays because I've been looking and I try to make my own and get spicy with it, but it's really hard. Content creation is hard. When you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, sometimes it could seem really simple, but it's not. There's a lot that goes on here. But Mona, I want to talk about you. This show is about you today. I want to, dive into like young Mona, like right out of high school into college Mona. What were you up to? What were your aspirations in life? What did you want to do?
Oh my gosh. Well, most people don't know that I am actually Persian. I was born in Iran. I grew up in Iran until I was 10. And then I migrated here shortly after the revolution. My parents left Iran and I came here. And I've been here since. I actually grew up in Michigan, but not in Michigan anymore because can't take that cold.
No.
But I always, forever, I was a master of all trade. What do they say? Jack of all trade, but a master of none. That's what I was for a long time until I got into broadcasting school. And once I got into broadcasting school, it kind of gave me that direction of what I want to do and who I want to be. And then I became a journalist, and here we are. My background is a former local news reporter and producer, and then until I left news. And that's a whole story too.
Wow, you're a boss. I love it. So you chose broadcasting school of all things. What drew you to the cameras? Or was it also like, the behind the camera that you were attracted to as well because you said you're a producer?
To be honest, I was a talent that's how I was paying my bills. I was a talent. I was a commercial talent. I worked at Home Shopping Network for a little while as a talent. And then I did some commercials and I did that in my teens and 20s. And then when I looked at career and what I wanted to do, and I loved production, but I always was infatuated by news anchors. So that kind of led me to go back to school and finish and get a broadcasting degree. And but now I'm again behind the camera too. Now I have a production company. I actually left news to start my production company where we produce TV commercials and web ads. And I still do that I still do that today, but it was my crypto journey started just recently, actually in 2017. And here we are, journalism and crypto.
When you were working, at the mainstream news, what was it like for you? Did you enjoy doing that? Were you hitting the streets, doing on the street type of stuff as well? Or were you mainly in studio?
Oh no, you are on the street. There is no
Hey,
studio time for a reporter. No, you're on the street day and night. I loved news for where I am today.
yeah,
News gave me my founding, right? I think if broadcast journalism is something that you're interested in, hard news is the way to do it, because you need to learn storytelling on the go. You need to learn how to tell a story in 15 seconds, right? While
yes.
somebody is shot, excuse me, but while somebody is shot, laying in the middle of the street. So that requires a level of like triage and knowing how to think fast. Critical thinking is a big part of that, and that's what news taught me. What I didn't like about news, and I'm gonna say this, I guess, on record, is I couldn't be creative. When I did news, there was no creativity. It was very cookie cutter. It's very controlled.
Yes.
And I didn't like that. And honestly also didn't like giving people bad news all the time. I got tired of knocking on people's doors and asking for a soundbite when they're still grieving from their loved ones passing away. So it kind of takes a toll on you, but I'm very grateful for news, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't work the streets and knock on those doors and learn what I know today.
Wow, that's so unfortunate to me that there is no creativity within the news. And I've spoken to a few news anchors that have told me kind of the same thing, that they wanted to do something, or they want to do something with their show or with their reporting, but it's just not allowed. It's just,
Yeah.
I felt like the initial point of the news and being able to be a journalist is to figure out the truth, and whatever it is, then you send it out, good or bad. I think there's a lot of good happening in the world, but the news does seem to highlight the bad. Why do you think that is? Why is there mostly negative news instead of good news sometimes?
That's what sells. That's what sells. I mean, look at the algorithm. I'm not going to name, people in our space, but there are certain people, even in our space, who use controversy to ignite those algorithms, right? So the algorithm doesn't know what you're saying, right? But when you're saying things that are controversial or sad or devastating, people tend to rush to you, right? To see, because people want to know what happened. Is this true? So when you create that excitement, that negative excitement, that's what sells. And
That's so
that's
unfortunate.
like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah, if you told pretty news all day, I mean, less people are going to probably tune in. Bad news sells.
That's terrible. Wow. This world, it's so messed up sometimes. I'm just like, oh, like, there's so many good things going on, especially, I see, there's narratives as well. I think, we could see that with crypto, where they don't really talk about crypto, and if they talk about crypto, it's primarily negative. Even in the bull market, it's just a way like, oh, how can we kind of devastate this economy, this crypto, this DeFi economy? I don't know. It's crazy. So you left news and you wanted to start your own production company. What was that initial thought process like when you started doubting, your position, where you were like, okay, I kind of want to leave now? How did that start for you? What ignited that thought?
Oh, everyone thought I was insane. Everyone still thinks I'm insane. I mean, when
Same.
people watch my crypto, we're just a bunch of crazies over here.
Literally, yes.
I mean, people probably still like, people who know me, they probably watch my stuff and they're like, what is she doing? What is she talking about? But when I left my news career, I mean, everyone thought I was insane, and they said, "Okay, good luck," because I said I'm going to go do storytelling on my own, and I can find a way to, monetize it. And listen, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you will ever do, and you will always work on 4 projects simultaneously. You'll never have one job. But
Yeah.
I say this very, very, confidently, that I rather work around the clock for my own 3 projects than clock in 9 to 5. I'll never be able to clock in 9 to 5 for anybody. But there's no clock here. You know, like, no. I work, and I know you do too, and a lot of us in this space can relate to this. It's from, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., whenever I sit in front of the computer, and prior to that, I got to mentally get myself ready from meditating and working out, and then sit in front of the computer, and next thing you know is 8 o'clock at night, and I go straight to bed. So that's what you kind of give up. But listen, I wouldn't change it for anything, because I truly believe in what I'm doing today. When I came into crypto, I saw a huge need. First of all, there were no women in crypto when I came in. Yeah. Especially no journalists. There were no journalists in the space. And I started researching. I saw a void. I started researching and learning about Web3, gaming, and crypto. And the more I learned, the more I was like, okay, this is very interesting, and nobody knew about it, right? So I saw an opportunity, and I jumped right on it, and here I am, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
When you initially left, were you scared to leave that stability? You worked your basically years, went through college, worked your butt off hitting the streets, and you kind of just said, bye, I can't do this anymore. Were you scared to do that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll say this. I had some savings, so I knew that I would be good for a little while. And I'm the type of personality, like, I'm never going to be hungry. Like, I will find a way. If I have to go bartend somewhere, or I have to go work behind a makeup counter, or go back to doing, commercial talent work, like, I will hustle. But I really, and trust me, it was a struggle, because in broadcast news, you're supposed to climb this ladder, right? You're supposed to start in local news, and everyone wants to work their way up to CNN. And I really contemplated if I was making the right choice, because no matter what, you have to start from the bottom somewhere. Hey, we're in crypto, we're starting from the bottom here. So which bottom do you want to start at, right?
Pretty much.
But I also, yeah, right. So I also saw that I looked at traditional news, and I was like, now traditional news is not going to be here 5 years from now. And I saw a huge opportunity in Metaverse and crypto and gaming. And I said, yep, news in the Metaverse. Peace.
How do you think social media has impacted news and the way it is distributed? Because I think now we're seeing Elon Musk talk about how he wants Twitter to be the new newspaper, the new news, essentially, where people are just openly putting news out on Twitter. It gets fact checked one way or another, and it's authentic. And now we have the mainstream media. How do you think social media has impacted news?
Well, I mean, the thing about social media and news is, frankly, as a news producer, when I used to go to work, the first thing you do as a news producer, the moment you sit in your chair, what do you think it is? You look on Twitter.
Yes.
That's the first thing. Yeah, that I'm not Facts. Even kidding. Ask any news producer, what is the first thing you do when you sit down on your computer and you're ready to write that rundown for that show? They'll say, I look at Twitter, because news is on Twitter, right?
Oh my gosh.
So, and a lot has changed since 80s and 90s, because everyone wants information faster and faster and faster and faster, right? And that information has to be distribution. It has also changed since 80s and 90s, because distribution also needs to happen simultaneously in multiple different platforms, right? So speed and distribution they play a huge part in news. And where do you get speed and where do you get distribution? Is social media, right? So the more these social networks are connected, the better it is for distributing information, but then the biggest barrier is factual information. What is real and what is not? So if that answers your question in a way.
It does. And there is we're at a really weird point in history. When the news was kind of first starting, especially in America, I remember learning about it in school. It was this big movement of independence and people wanting to spread the word, whether that was good or bad, and just get the right information, just expose everything that's going on, put it out there, let the people know what's happening. Now it seems as though even the mainstream, even the news that we are considering the people we get our information from, are misconstruing things or straight up lying to us in many ways. So it's like, how can we trust anything anymore? And do you think the trust in the news or in other people can essentially be restored?
Do you mean just in general?
Yeah, in general. I think like sometimes things get like a little messed up. Like we've been seeing like, maybe the news like putting out misinformation, and other people put out misinformation all the time. Like this isn't just like the problem of the news. But do you think like we could trust the mainstream media again after like everything that's been going on?
Well, I mean, I think people more and more are looking for authentic and organic information, right?
Yes.
That's why TikTok does so well, because people don't want designed information. They want it raw, they want it right now, and they want you to take them right there on that scene, right? That's what they trust. That's what they trust the most. And that kind of brings me to why, I am looking at journalism on the blockchain. Because frankly, if you ask me, why are you here? Yes, I have a channel and we can talk about the metaverse. But first and foremost, I'm here for journalism and news, because I want to be a part of building the next iteration of news media in Web3. I think, with blockchain and the advent of Web3 media, news is going to change, right? Gen Z is certainly not going to consume news the traditional way. So I think, they're millennials either. Millennials and Gen Z are not going to consume news the traditional way. So I think we need to look at how the blockchain can be used to deliver news, right? How will it affect, first and foremost, because this is how news is really ran, how will it affect or improve advertising, right? That's the first variable. How will it improve subscription-based news? Because subscription and advertising is what basically news is run on, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at, and this all goes back to trust. I'm circling back to your trust question, because I want to tell you how trust can be established in Web3 for the people, right? When you look at the DAOs and that model, right, and how it will bring people together to share common interest, that's a very interesting model to look at, right?
Yeah.
The economics of the blockchain and that drive for data ownership and privacy, that's going to be huge for news, right? Those are some great attributes. And not to mention, which you and I talked about this earlier, what blockchain, when it comes to trust, can bring to news is the accuracy and that trustful experience that it provides in terms of content. So like the video that you're watching, right? Or like you asked me earlier, how does social media play a part? Well, imagine the video you're watching, the photo you're looking at on social media, a story you're reading, or just any data you're consuming. The blockchain is going to allow you to see that is real, and it can be traced back to a reputable source.
Ooh,
right?
I like it.
That's really valuable. And that's something that when you talk about trust, I feel like yes, people don't really trust people on the news, but I bet you they're going to trust the blockchain.
100%.
News running on blockchain.
And
right.
I don't know if you remember, but right when NFTs started to get hot, people were NFTing their tweets. Jack Dorsey, I believe, did it. A bunch of people did it, where they were just literally making their tweets an NFT. I think that's gold, right? I think when people quote one another, the quotes can't be misconstrued if they're literally NFTs.
Absolutely. Now, yes. So news is already playing with NFTs a little bit. AP, as you already know, has their NFT marketplace. And I think, I want to say Time Magazine may already have their own. But they are playing with that lower hanging fruit, just like Amazon did with books. Mm-hmm. News is, because they have so much content, right? Why not have an open sea of all the images AP has, right? But the trick with NFTs and news, and that's probably something that like CNN or AP is looking at, is that NFTs are a commercial product, right?
Yes.
So, but news can't be a commercial product, right? So how do you differentiate that? That's something they have to test and figure out. But I think if they're going to get in and get their feet wet, they're definitely going to come in from the NFT standpoint, because they just have plethora of content that they can put out there for people to trade. There was some content that they put out there and people were trading that, there was big backlashes. So they have to be very careful. Like, I think it was Cuban migrants that were in a boat. That NFT had huge backlash. So it with news and NFTs is very tricky. They have to be very careful about that.
True. And I think it was Time Magazine that was they were selling their magazine covers. Someone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, because, it's something to, have as a memory. It's almost as if, like when I was younger, a big thing was collecting the Barbie dolls, and, generations, I mean like 3 generations deep of just Barbie dolls being collected. Imagine if those were NFTs, just the basic collectibles in your life, and then just upscaling it to the point where news can really be authentic, and you can't, the blockchain's immutable. So how are you going to say that's not a thing, right? It's, wow, this is deep. I really like it. And being that the news is... Yeah, what were you going to say? You could go.
No, I was just going to say, because I can blow your mind even on a whole nother level too when it comes to news and the blockchain. And this is something I know you like, because you're very much into self-custody and you promote that and you teach that a lot. But something that stands out to me, and it's going to stand out to everyone the most when it comes to blockchain and what blockchain can offer to news, is providing this incorruptible publishing layer where journalists can publish pseudonymously and anonymously, right? And also fund independent freelance journalists from exiled countries around the world, like what's happening in Ukraine or Afghanistan. So like, when these journalists are running for their lives, they don't have time to go to the bank and cash out, right? Mm-hmm. So all they need is their keys to their wallet, and then they can go to safety. And the other part of that is they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? The government a lot of times cuts all funding for freelance journalists in those situations, right? So at that point, they don't need the government funding to continue to put out the information about what's going on in Ukraine, right? Yeah. So that's like, to me, that's the most beautiful thing that blockchain can do for journalism, that safety and the emergency aspect of what crypto and blockchain can offer news. That's very interesting and valuable.
100%. I've been talking about this in terms of self-custody and things like that. God forbid you have to leave the country, or, you're actually in a hurricane. People in Florida, their houses got wrecked because obviously the Hurricane Ian was a beast, right? They can't, if they had a safe full of cash or they had gold bars, they're not going to lug that through the water. They're not going to take that with them when they're escaping a country. They barely could carry themselves. But with crypto, with blockchain, you have your ledger, or you have your phone, you have your recovery phrases. That's everything right there. That is everything. The fact that the government can even cut off the funding for freelance journalism when they're risking their lives to report news is insane. And another thing that made me think of is, how do we know what's going on in places like Ukraine and all these other places where, like Iran, Afghanistan right now? How do we know what's going on there? We have no idea. And, things like this could really fix that. Just being able to be independent. And even, Starlink, I know Elon Musk is working on, where you're not going to need, the government or your regular cellular providers for internet. You could use Starlink. So you have that type of satellite internet, and you have the blockchain. You're creating a perfect storm for clearly independence. This is amazing. We're breaking through. Mona, we're breaking through. This is amazing. I love this right now.
We're doing it. We're doing it. The thing about it is, like, when you ask, I always I'm like, why the hell is like CNN not in the metaverse yet, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, for them, for news sources, it's really about obviously this right here, right? So how are we gonna have this? And I think until they figure out advertising, on-chain advertising, and how that will look like for news is going to just sit back and dabble in things like NFTs and try to see what AP does, because AP runs the show for all news sources. And little by little, but they're very open to it. They're very, like, when you watch interviews with AP blockchain specialists, they talk about it. They're very open to it, and they say that, they're not judgmental when it comes to technology. They know if they don't adapt, they're going to get left behind. So Is news in the metaverse and in Web3 yet? No. They're not. Are they coming? Yes, they will. They have to. Gen Z is already here, right? And what we're building is not for us necessarily, is for the next generation, right? So we're building this next iteration of not just the internet, but social media. I mean, people, don't understand Elon. It's okay. He wasn't meant to be understood. People need to understand that we're building the next iteration of everything, right? So we went from Web 1 to Web 2, now we're Web 3. Web 3 requires digital currency. Web 3 is based on DAOs and that type of engagement, right? Content ownership. So, and people don't like change. People hate change. But the reason Reddit was able to sell that many NFTs to people that hated the idea of Web3 is because they made it sound like there is nothing has changed. They use the rhetoric and the language that people like to hear and understand. And guess what? Everybody bought it.
True.
So if we want to expedite this process of mass adoption, we really need to speak the people's language, right? It's happening. It's inevitable. Web3 is happening. We are building the next iteration of internet. But if we want mass adoption, we need to speak the people's language.
100%. We need to make things more simple. And I try to do that all the time. And I think you're doing that as well, making the metaverse very accessible for others. How did you actually first hear about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Because I know this journey, I think you said, started in 2017 for you. How did you first hear about cryptocurrency? What were your initial thoughts?
I initially was swing trading just as passive income. I'm telling you, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have like 3 jobs.
Literally.
So that was one of my sources of income. And then I kind of started shifting my direction from DeFi to the metaverse, because I really felt like gaming and metaverse environment were better and further suited and kind of designed, if you will, for Web3. That's how I kind of saw it. I felt like Metaverse was already kind of there. Web3 gaming was already there. And it was providing a lower barrier for entry for people. It was easier for people to get in, because the moment you said DeFi to people, everybody just froze, right?
Yes.
But when you say gaming, people are a little bit more comfortable, and it's easier to get in. So I kind of shifted my direction from DeFi to Metaverse and gaming for that reason. And then I started utilizing my journalism and broadcasting skill to kind of facilitate information between those brands and the masses, because frankly, the masses don't really understand what is being built, why is it being built, where is the value, and all they see is bad information, and that prevents them from wanting to learn, right? So it just happened that I understood that language and I can speak to the masses. So I kind of am like a translator of information between what's happening in the metaverse and in gaming and blockchain, and in the physical world.
That's amazing. And I think it also goes back to what we were mentioning before about bad news selling, because like you just said, a lot of people, they're hearing right now, especially about SBF, FTX, and they think now maybe the crypto space is bad, Bitcoin is bad, when it's really just the actor, and that's the news that they're pushing out because that's what people are willing to listen to, instead of how much Bitcoin has done and what the revolution is all about. But yet again, during the bull market, they're going to be talking about Bitcoin and, what's Bitcoin, and this is how we could all use it and get in on it. The narrative does spin, but it also does go back to what we were talking about. Like, man, they do push out the bad news, and that's what people are hearing. And when you talked about, because you have guests on your channel and everything like that, why did you initially start your YouTube channel? If you want to talk about when you started it and what your journey was like and what you're publishing on there now.
Yeah, I mean, I started my channel just something, Metaverse Express was just something fun. I started during COVID because we all get creative, and I was like, I'm just gonna start a channel because I was already, let me go back. In order for me to decide what coins I was going to invest in, I would do extensive research because I'm a journalist, right? So we're made to do research. So I would read white papers over, and I wouldn't understand a word, right? But I would just read it over and over and over just to decide, do I want to invest in this coin? What is this project? What are they offering? Do I want to invest in it or not? So then as I started doing that, I created my own portfolio based on my own research. And then people would ask me, what did you learn? Is it a good project? I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a channel, and I'm just going to start talking about this, but in a journalistic way, right? And one thing led to the next, and next thing you know, I'm kind of interviewing, which is so surreal actually to me, because I remember not a financial advice, guys, not a financial advice, but I invested in Alluvium way back in the day, and to sit there in front of Kieran and talk to him about the project, it was just so surreal, right? Oh. But it goes to show, which was really fascinating, that how open and available Web3 founders are. Because I could never go sit down with the Amazon founder or Google guys to have a conversation about what they're building. But Web3 founders are so readily available to have these conversations. And I said, you know what? That's what I want people to hear. I had to read white papers, but I want people to hear it from the horse's mouth. So I'm going to go get the horse. I'm going to bring him here, and I'm going to ask those same questions that I know my cousins want to learn and hear. And that's what I started doing. I just started interviewing founders and asking them about what they're building. Why are they building it? Where is the value? What is the risk? Just tell us everything. And then let people decide for themselves if they want to invest. And then that led to me covering hot topics in the metaverse because I'm a journalist at heart. So I just do quick 6 stories, tell you what's going on in 4 minutes, and that's it. That's really Metaverse Express right there for you.
That's great. Keeping it simple, 4 minutes, letting you know the highlights. I think 4 minutes is a good amount of time considering that like everyone's attention span is just right now. So I definitely think 4 minutes is awesome. Your interviews are great. I was talking to you guys about before, I was just a guest on her channel. It was just posted today. We talked about so many good topics. So definitely check that out. Again, I'm going to put I know I just put it in there, but I'm going to put it again. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel. Click that link. All of her links are in the description of the video, including her Twitter, Linktree, and YouTube channel, because she has a Linktree with all this awesome stuff on it. And you've been traveling a lot. So where have you gone in terms of like Web3 and things like that? Because I know I was with you a few times.
Yes. Right after COVID, the first event that I attended, which was a life-changing event for me, was Permissionless. I love the Permissionless team. They are just so real and so they come with like so much wealth of knowledge. I follow them religiously. Permissionless taught me a lot. I remember Chris Dixon from A16Z on stage. I never forget this quote. It'll always stay with me. Him and his partners, they build the internet. His partner actually built a Netscape Navigator. And he said, on the stage, he said, in all my years of building the internet, people have always said to me, you're crazy. This is not going to work. It's a bubble. It won't work. And then a decade goes by and a switch flips. And then they come back to me and they say, oh my God, what you built, we have to nationalize it. And now we're choosing our president via what you built. Referring to the idea that Web3, with all its volatility, it is going to be built. And a decade from now, we will live the Web3 way, right? And we will look back and understand that this was the bleeding edge, that there's cost to building on the bleeding edge, right? And there's a cost in being an early adopter, and that's what's happening here. So any permissionless event, I highly, highly recommend. The next best event was NFT NYC, where I met all my favorite people, including yourself. But two very different events, right? Mm-hmm. One is more like Web3, layer 1, layer 2, kind of all of that. And then the other one is more just very NFT driven. The second one was a big party.
Basically.
But you need both, right? It was a lot of socializing. A great event. I love that team. Ian Utili is one of my mentors, the producer of NFT NYC. We work together often. And then I'm headed to the Central on Monday to cover that event. So if anyone is in the Central next week in Miami, I will be there. You'll see me with a camera and a mic. So please come say hello and be part of the coverage. And I wish you could come join us too, but I know we're going to come see you. We're going to come see you soon.
Yes. Oh my gosh. One day I'll do a meetup. If you guys are interested in a zesty IRL meetup with me, maybe in NYC, if I find a venue, then let me know in the chat. But speaking of being an early adopter, there are some Mona early adopters here. So a lot of people did subscribe to the channel. I'm happy to see. Again, please subscribe to her channel.
Thank you guys.
She's building.
Thank you.
As K Money likes to do.
Yes.
She's building.
I am new. I am very new. I'm only 10 months old, guys. I'm a baby.
Oh, wait. But yeah, you're really killing it. I really do respect your grind and the courage it takes to just leave the traditional, journalism world and now have your freedom and just kind of doing everything you're doing. I really do admire it. I think, there's so much that comes with this space. This space moves at a rapid pace, and so does the metaverse. And, Facebook is now Meta. So what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to have a decentralized metaverse? Do you think we're going to be competing just like we are now, kind of just DeFi versus TradFi just in the metaverse?
Man, metaverse is inevitable. Maybe people don't maybe people don't like the word metaverse, just like people don't like the word crypto. And when I say people, I mean the folks out here on the streets, okay?
Yes.
So let's just refer to it as a virtual digital environment, right? It's inevitable. It's being built. There's no if it's going to make it or not. That's not the question. Actually, a study just came out a couple of weeks ago. They said in 2026, 1 in 4 people will spend at least 1 hour a day in the metaverse. Or if you want, sorry, I should say metaverse. A virtual space.
Virtual world.
Space, right?
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's for work, it's for shopping, it's education, it's social, it's entertainment, whatever you want to call it. People are going to be in there, right? So the question at this point is not if, right? The question really is, and again, I'm going to go back to Gen Z. Love you guys. This is why we're doing this. It's for you guys. They're already in this environment. They're already in this digital virtual environment, right? The question is, how are you going to onboard the next billion users that are not gamers, who are not Gen Z, right? Who are not 20 and younger? And then the next question you have to ask is, who is going to create that ideal digital environment for the masses, right? And what does that really look like? So it's more like, who's going to get there first and build this ideal digital realm for the masses? And if you ask me, is it meta? Is it, gosh, there's so many, and I'll tell you guys my favorite metaverse projects too. Not a financial advice, but it's because I've met these people. I've worked with them. I have a handful, but it's not about, I don't know which one is going to be the one, right? But I'll tell you this. I believe the project that's going to win is the project that's going to offer a fully immersive experience where people want to stay on that platform and stay engaged, right? But
Yes.
it also needs to be a place where it doesn't intend to replace or replicate human experience, right? But instead, it's like an add-on to the human experience and our daily lives, right? Because frankly,
Yes.
you can't completely disconnect from our physical human engagement, right? Yeah. But we can benefit from a virtual environment that brings value and efficiency to our daily tasks. So whoever gets there first is the company or the brand or the project that can accomplish all those things, if you ask me.
That's interesting, because literally what you were saying was what Mark Zuckerberg was saying on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was watching a little bit of that, and he was saying that he doesn't envision, the metaverse or virtual reality completely taking over. It's more of just, like you said, adding on to what your life is now, just enhancing certain things, or, even simple things as in Web3, we see it the most, where teams, even though they're all founders, they're not in the same office. They're not even in the same part of the world, right? They're all in different parts of the world. There is a better way to meet rather than Zoom. That would be amazing. I think even podcasts, if we're even thinking that deep, this is going to be in the metaverse. We're not going to be doing Zoom and everyone in the chat. It's going to be more of an experience where it's going to be a physical, kind of like we're going to put on a headset or glasses or something, and there's going to be 3D hologram figures of me and you sitting together with the audience in front of us. I think that's what it's going to look like. That would be really sick. I kind of experienced something like that in Altspace. It's this VR app where there were literally people at a desk, and everyone was in the audience. I was like, wow, this is the future of news. This is the future of podcasting. I think a lot of it isn't going to be in person anymore. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice rabbit hole to go down. But I do think being somewhere where we could communicate openly, being able to use blockchain within it, do different things, definitely going to happen. It's really interesting to see where it all goes. Being that we're in the midst of a bear market, where do you think the next 5-10 years what do you think that's going to hold for all of us, whether that's Bitcoin, crypto, DeFi, the metaverse? Where do you think life is going to take us?
Well, it depends in what realm are you referring to? In digital currency, in virtual reality, in what genre?
Kind of everything. Like, where do you see like adoption going in terms of just Web3 blockchain and all of this technology just kind of all coming at us at once?
I focus on virtual environments because I feel like what is being built, right? And it's going to be built. It's a virtual environment that you and I just talked about, where it's a one-stop shop, right? Just wait until commerce comes in, right? Just wait until brands come in, right? And you're already seeing them come in, Nike, Adidas, with Roblox, they're going to enter these games, right? And they're going to collaborate. You're going to see a lot of collaborations with metaverses and Web2 companies. Like you're seeing VV right now, which love that project. Just got they have a Disney license, right? So digital collectibles is bringing that into the metaverse. Imagine let's just for a second talk about this. Imagine bringing Disney characters into the metaverse and creating a digital Disney environment in the metaverse. So the family who can't afford $600 tickets per person to take their family to Disneyland can have that experience with Mickey and Minnie in the metaverse. I promise you, you guys all can mark my words. That's going to happen before DeFi is going to happen, before we're going to transition our entire banking system. But that still needs to happen too, because if we don't fix that, we're not going to be able to use digital currency in those environments. And those environments require the use of digital currency. What is that currency going to be? That is to be determined, right? But the idea, I like to think, and I like to go as far as saying, I feel like regulations, I feel like gaming and the metaverse will feel the lesser effects of regulations. And this is completely my opinion. Because they put the idea of fun in the forefront, right?
100%.
So fun is going to be less regulated than, hey, we're going to compete with Bank of America.
True.
Right? And I think, and that's why I am very gaming and metaverse bullish. So where are we going? What is the next 10 years is going to look like? I think that in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of collaborations with Web3 and Web2 companies and brands. I think they're going to collaborate to bring commerce, finance, and some type of regulations into these environments so that we can have our meeting and shop our Amazon and get it sent to our home and meet our cousins at the mall and shop and do all of those things in one environment. That's where I think we're going.
Kind of like the X app Elon Musk was describing, where he wanted to do everything from one app, whether that's order things, make payments, tweet, everything from one app. But now we're upscaling it to a metaverse, which I could envision. I think you're on the right track, Mona. Wow, this has been an amazing talk. I really do love talking to you. We have to do this again soon. Thank you to everyone that's in the chat today. There's so many people talking. I think Digi brought up a great point in the chat. He said, proof of ownership is the value Web3 provides, and the world desperately needs it for transparency and accountability, whether it's art, whether it's art, currency, voting, branding, mortgages, gaming, etc. Valid, absolutely valid. This is going to change everything. This is a revolution. Proof of ownership is everything. Mona, before we head out, where can everyone follow you? Shout out all your social medias. I'll be throwing that in the live chat. And as I said before, guys, there is stuff in the bio of the video as well. Where can everyone find you? And please share a message. It could be about meditation. It could be about the world. It could be about news. It could be about DeFi, crypto, the metaverse. What is one message you would like to share with everybody at home?
Well, you can check me out on YouTube. It's actually Metaverse Express all across platforms: YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Metaverse Express is one word with an X. So you can follow me there, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. What is my message? My message is remember, guys, we can sound cool and smart because we are early adopters in crypto, But if we want mass adoption, we have to educate the 90% of the folks out there who they don't know what crypto is. They don't know what self-custody is. A lot of people can't even self-custody their own money in the central banks. So when we introduce these vocabularies and terms, we have to remember 90% of people don't understand what we're saying, right? So why are we having these conversations? Why are we influencers in this space? Why are we journalists in this space? Is to educate and really dumb it down for the people so that we can tell them why they need to be here, why they need to look this way, why they need to invest. Where's the value for them? So if you're an influencer out there, if you're on YouTube, if you're using all these platforms, don't just educate the people in our space, because we tend to do that. Mm-hmm. Don't talk so much about the what, talk about the why. Talk about the why and talk to the people out here on the streets. And the more we do that, the sooner mass adoption will happen.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. Don't care about the what. Care about the why. Like, come on, man. That's what I've been saying so much lately as well. Like, why are we here? The revolution is still here. I don't care if Bitcoin's 16 grand. The blockchain still works. It's still money that we truly own. So, guys, we are all going to make it. Will the metaverse survive? Absolutely. Crypto is going to survive. Yes. We're all going to make it. Please, guys, don't forget to follow Mona. Subscribe to her. Also, Mona, you got to add your Instagram to your link tree. I couldn't grab the link for it right now, but it's at Metaverse Express everywhere.
Thank you.
I'll see if I could grab the link now before we head out. But yeah, guys, please check out Mona's stuff. And if you're here, please subscribe, share the stream out with friends, please. And comment after this is over. Definitely comment after this is over. Let us know if you enjoyed the show. Let us know if you're a zesty individual. I'm on your Instagram. Can I share it? Can I get the link? Okay, hold on.
You want me to send it?
Instagram, I'm going to type it manually, chat. Instagram.com/metamona_. Yes, there we go. Guys, click that link. Give her a follow. Give her love. We all love love. Guys, thank you for coming. Mona, thank you again for joining me. So much love to you. You are going to go so many, you're going to be queen. I'm so excited for the bull market. I can't wait to see where you go. And I'm so happy we're friends. The next few years is going to be a wild ride for you. I can't.
Likewise, and I'm so proud of you. I always say, oh my gosh, if I knew what I know today when I was your age, you're going to go places. Just wait until you're 20, 30, 40. Oh my God. just wait. You're going to be amazing.
Oh my God.
You're going to be incredible.
Imagine
I'm very excited for you.
40 years old. I can't even imagine that. That's so crazy. That's so far away.
Imagine what you'll be at 40 with the knowledge and what you did for yourself. I mean, this is an investment that you made for you. And I hope that every teenager out there, every adult, not just teen, every adult out there is thinking about crypto, is thinking about digital currency, and doing the research and making the right investments. Because listen, yes, there are downsides to being an early adopter, but there's also a lot of upside. So I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. So much love, Mona. So much love to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I will be back, guys. Next week is gonna be wild. But Monday at noon, I'll be live for the weekly Zest. May it be a daily Zest next week? We're gonna have to see. I think I have 3 shows lined up for next week. All amazing people. Don't miss it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Comment after this is over. And have a great weekend. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone has a happy Friday. And as always, stay zesty. Peace.